நாகம் என்ற பழமெடுத்து கொடையாக நின்றதே கருநீல கூந்தல் வானில் நிலவொன்று நீன்றதே நாகம் என்ற பழமெடுத்து கொடையாக நின்றதே கருநீல கூந்தல் வானில் நிலவொன்று நீன்றதே உன்னதி செல்திடும் உன்னருள் பார்வைகள் நல்லமதோட்டுதே பூமழையற்கனை குங்கும வாசனை நல்வழி காட்டுதே எனக்கு மனம் தேடும் துணை நீதானம்மா தேவி தருமாறே இசை பாடும் வரும் சந்தானம்மா தாயன் உருமாறே கற்பூர தீபங்களோ அருள் வந்து ஆடுதே காலங்கள் உன்னால் தானே வசந்தங்கள் காணுதே கற்பூர தீபங்களோ அருள் வந்து ஆடுதே காலங்கள் உன்னால் தானே வசந்தங்கள் காணுதே உன் திரிசூலும் பொன்மணி ஓசையும் நல்வினை ஓட்டுமே பொன்மணி அர்ச்சனை குங்கும வாசனை நல்வழி காட்டுதே சரணம் உந்தன் தேடும் துணை நீதானம்மா தேவி கருமாறி இசை பாடும் வரும் தந்தானம்மா தாயன் உருமாறி தேடும் துணை நீரானம்மா தேவி கருமாறி இசை பாடும் வரும் தந்தானம்மா தாயன் உருமாறி
சரஸ்வதி தேவி ஒன்றான் பணிந்தே சரஸ்வதி தேவி ஒன்றான் பணிந்தே கலை தேவதையே நல்லாசை வந்தே கலை தேவதையே நல்லாசை வந்தே சரஸ்வதி தேவி ஒன்றான் பணிந்தே சரண் தேடி மனம் வாழ்த்து பாடுகின்றேன் சரண் தேடி மனம் வாழ்த்து பாடுகின்றேன் முறையேற்றும் மாறாது காத்திருவாய் அம்மா முறையேற்றும் மாறாது காத்திருவாய் அம்மா சரஸ்வதி தேவி உன் தான் பணிந்தே வெண்ணிறை தாமரைகள் பெண்ணுடை ஊற்றி வெண்ணிறை தாமரைகள் பெண்ணுடை ஊற்றி விண்ணயம் கைகள் இசை போலை சூற்றி என்னையும் என்றமெல்லாம் என்றும் இதர என்னையும் என்றும் எல்லாம் என்றும் இதர கண்ணன் காட்சி தந்தை நல்லாசை புரிவார் கண்ணன் காட்சி தந்தை நல்லாசை புரிவார் பார்வதி தேவி ஒன்றான் பணிந்தேன் கலை தேவதே நல்லாசை வந்தேன் கலை தேவதையே நல்லாசை வந்தேன் பார்வதி தேவி ஒன்றான் பணிந்தேன்.
பஞ்சத்திரு போத்து பசு நீதனை ஊற்றி குங்குமத்தால் போத்துக்கு கோலம் மஞ்சள் தானமிட்டு பூமாலை சூடி வைத்து பூஜை போல் உன்னே திருமகளே திருவிளக்கு ஏற்றி வைத்தும் திருமகளே வருக குலமிலங்க எங்கள் வீட்டு கொலவிளக்கு வருக அலைமகளே வருக ஐஸ்வர்யம் தருக அலைமகளே வருக ஐஸ்வர்யம் தருக வாசலின மாகோலம் வீட்டினில லட்சுமி தரும் வாசலின மாகோலம் வீட்டினில லட்சுமி தரும் நெற்றியில ஸ்ரீசூர்யம் நெஞ்சினில லட்சுமி தரும் அம்பாலியாவிருக்க அகிலமிலம் இன்பமயம் அஷ்டமா சித்தியுடன் லோகமிலாம் க்ஷேமமயம் அஷ்டமா சித்தியுடன் லோகமிலாம் க்ஷேமமயம் அலைமகளே வருக ஐஸ்வர்யம் தருக அலைமகளே வருக ஐஸ்வர்யம் தருக மாவலி தோரணமும் மங்களத்தில் அடியாலும் மாவலி தோரணமும் மங்களத்தில் அடியாலும் உதவித்து எருவெறின உள்ளத்திலும் ஒரு வாசம் அம்மானியால் புரிந்தால் அகிலமிலம் அலங்காரம் அன்றாடு பாடிதுவும் அஷ்டலட்சுமி திருநாமம் அன்றாடு பாடிதுவும் அஷ்டலட்சுமி திருநாமம் கண்ணு சற்றுதாரி நமஸ்காரம் சகல வரும் தருவாய் நமஸ்காரம் பத்மதீப தேவி நமஸ்காரம் பத்மதமி காப்பாய் நமஸ்காரம் வேம்பரதம் ஏறி வர வெப்பமர காரியமா ஜெகமாலம் நீலியம்மா சமயபுரமா மகமாயி தாய்மனுக்கு வெண்பட்டு சேலை கச்சி
மகமாயே தாய் உனக்கு வெண்பட்டு சேலை கச்சி
மெய்தூரிய திலகமிட்டு வகவகையாய் படையல் வச்சு
வேதூரிய திலகமிட்டு வகை வகையாய் படையல் வச்சு
மனசார வேண்டி புட்டு திருநீரு பூசி வரும்
மனசார வேண்டி புட்டு திருநீரை பூசி வரும்
மனசெல்லாம் கேள்விகளே பதில் சொல்ல வாரும் அம்மா மாரியம்மா நீயே பழையத்தம்மா
முத்தம்மா தரிசனம் தாரும் அம்மா
வேம்பரதம் ஏறி வர வேப்பமர காரியம்மா ஜெகமாலும் நீலியம்மா சமயபுர மாரியம்மா நாகம் போல அசைந்த வரும் மெலிந்த வரும் தேழழகு
நாகம் போல அசிந்த வரும் மெலிந்த வரும் பேரழகு
நாகரூபம் கொண்டவளே புன்னழகோ பேரழகு
நாகரூபம் கொண்டவளே உன்னழகு பேரழகு
பொங்கி வரும் பரவசத்தில் வார்த்தை வரவில்லையம்மா
பொங்கி வரும் பரவசத்தில் வார்த்தை வரவில்லையம்மா
புலம் வாழ செய்பவளே குங்குமத்தை தாரும் அம்மா மாரியம்மா முத்து மாரியம்மா
நாகம்மா தரிசனம் தாரும் அம்மா
வேம்பரதம் ஏறி வர வேப்பமர காரியம்மா
வேம்பரதம் ஏறி வர வேப்பமர காரியம்மா
ஜெகமாலம் நீலியம்மா சமயபுர மாரியம்மா
ஜகமாலம் நீலியம்மா சமயபுர மாரியம்மா
கற்பூர ஒளியினிலே காட்சி தர வேணுமம்மா
கற்பூர ஒளியினிலே காட்சி தரும் வேணுமம்மா
போலவே தரிசனத்தில் துணியெல்லாம் நீங்குதம்மா மாரியம்மா நீயே நீலியம்மா சூரியம்மா தரிசனம் தாருமம்மா
கலைவாணி நின் கருணை தேன்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாக செந்தமிழே கலைவாணி நின் கருணை தேன்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாக செந்தமிழே அலங்கார தேவதைய பனிதாமணி இசை கலியாவும் கண் தருள்வாய் கலைமாமணி கலைவாணி நின் கருணை தேன்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாது செந்தமிழே கலைவாணி நின் கருணை தேன்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாது செந்தமிழே மரகத வலை கரங்கள் வாணி கவினை தாங்கும் மரகத வலை கரங்கள் வாணி கவினை தாங்கும் அருளான கரம் ஒன்று ஜகமாலை விளங்கும் அருளான கரம் ஒன்று ஜகமாலை விளங்கும் ஸ்ருதியோட லயபாவ ஸ்வரராஜதானம் ஸ்ருதியோட லயபாவ சுவராஜ ஞானம் சரஸ்வதி மாதாவுன் வீணைகள் எழுகானம் கலைவாணி நின் கருணை வீண்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாது செந்தமிழே கலைவாணி நின் கருணை தேன்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாவில் என் தமிழே. வீணையில் எழும் நாதம் தேவி உன் சுப்ரபாதம், வீணையில் எழும் நாதம் தேவி உன் சுப்ரபாதம், வேணுவில் வரும் ஞான வாணிவன் சகரவாதம், வேணுவில் வரும் ஞான வாணிவன் சகரவாதம், வானகம் வையகம் முன்புகள் பாடம், வானகம் வையகம் முன்புகள் பாடம், வேதினை முனை பாடி தருவாய் சங்கீதம், கலைவாணி நின் கருணை தேன்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாவு செந்தமிழே. கலைவாணி நின் கருணை தேன்மழையே விளையாடும் என்னாவு செந்தமிழே.
அபிராமியே எங்கள் அபிராமியே, அபிராமியே எங்கள் அபிராமியே, அன்னை பராசக்தி அபிராமியே எங்கள் அபிராமியே, எங்கள் அபிராமியே, அன்னை பராசக்தி அபிராமியே எங்கள் அபிராமியே, எங்கள் அபிராமியே. அபிமானம் கொண்டோர்க்கு சிவகாமியே, அபிமானம் கொண்டோர்க்கு சிவகாமியே, ஆவேசம் கொண்டாலும் நவகாமியே, அபிமானம் கொண்டோர்க்கு சிவகாமியே, ஆவேசம் கொண்டாலும் நவகாமியே, ஆனந்த கொண்டாட காந்திமதே, ஆனந்த கொண்டாட காந்திமதே, அகிலம் கொண்டாடும் பார்வதியே, அகிலம் கொண்டாடும் பார்வதியே, அபிராமியே எங்கள் அபிராமியே, அன்னை பராசக்தி அபிராமியே எங்கள் அபிராமியே, எங்கள் அபிராமியே. அன்பான மயிலையில் கற்பகமே, ஆரெல்லாம் காட்டிடும் அற்புதமே, அன்பான மயிலையில் கற்பகமே, ஆரெல்லாம் காட்டிடும் அற்புதமே, சொல்லெடுத்தால் இவள் மங்களேஸ்வரி, சொல்லெடுத்தால் இவள் மங்களேஸ்வரி,
can WhatsApp us on 079 170 3274.
Dear friends, family, respected elders, respected gurus that's watching this live stream, my humble vanakkam, namaskaram, and greetings to one and all. I would like to welcome everyone that's watching us throughout our social media platforms, and welcome to today's discourse. When I always have the chance for me to get in discourses that will touch people, I pick topics that will basically change people's lives by getting gurus, elders in the society to come in and educate us, whether it's in a small way or in a massive way. As long as that we have touched one person, certainly we have done justice in this lifetime of ours. On behalf of Impressions, the South Indian Express, together with myself, the sage, the son of the Montichkum soil, and we'll just talk about that in a bit. I would like to welcome Guru Sammandan Sarugasar. Welcome to Impressions 94.3 FM.
Thank you, Sage.
Guru alone comes from Montichkum, and I am very blessed and I'm very privileged today in sitting next to him, and where he's going to be delivering a discourse about a word that is called Theetu. To you, Guru, welcome and everything of the best. And I hope that the listeners and the viewers out there will really, really appreciate this discourse. Over to you, Guru.
Thank you. We'll start with a short prayer, Sage. Om Siddhi Vinayaga Charanam Charanam Murumudat Porule Charanam Charanam Moshigavagana Om Gananada Charanam Charanam Arul Perum Jodi Tani Perum Karune Tani Perum Karune Arul Perum Jodi Namachivaya Varga Nathan Talvarga Imay Epradum Yangal Ninjil Ningadan Talvarga தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி என் நாட்டுவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி ஓம் சக்தி ஆதிபரா சக்தி தேவியே போற்றி. அன்பு நிறைந்த வானொலி இம்ப்ரெஷன்ஸ் நேயர்களுக்கும் மற்ற பொறுப்பாளர்களுக்கும் நான் குரு சம்பந்தன் சாருகாசர் என் இனிய மாலை வணக்கத்தை செலுத்துகின்றேன். வணக்கம், நமஸ்காரம், நமஸ்தே, நமஸ்கார், ஓம் சாய்ராம், and good afternoon to the listeners, patrons and management of Impressions Radio on frequency 94.3 FM. My respects to my late parents, Vidwan K. M. Sarugasar and Lakshmi Sarugasar, for the education, guidance, upbringing and the foundation that was laid in the early years up to me reaching adulthood. At the outset, I place on record my sincere appreciation to management of Impressions Radio as well as Sage, who is presenting this program, South Indian Express, for this esteemed honor to speak on this great radio station. Like Sage, I am also the proud son of the soil of Montichkum Barracks, which was popularly known as Martin Kotri. A very proud and humble beginning that I continue to reflect on. I am a Tamil-speaking Hindu guru of South Indian descent. Therefore, my topic is about the meaning of Theetu, often used by South Indians during funerals and other situations, and also the superstitions or taboos followed by the South Indians of South Africa during and after the funeral of a family member. Before I commence with my topic, I want to quote a verse from the Tirukkural, the book that I'm holding in my hand, a book of gems and aesthetics. Chapter 40, verse 39 in the Tirukkural states, I quote in Tamil, Katka Kasadarak, Katpavai Katrapin, Nitka Adatkutaga. Unquote. The English translation, learn without error or fault all that is to be learned. After learning, carry out in life the lessons so learnt. The first topic is Theetu. When Sage extended the invitation for me to speak on this great radio station, he made a special request for me to explain the word Theetu. I believe he was present at a prayer that was conducting at the Siva Subramaniar Kovil in Ottawa, where he was playing music, and he heard me speak about Theetu, and therefore asked me to share this knowledge with the rest of you. This word is used particularly by the South Indian sector of Hindus. What is Theetu? How did the word come about? Is there a relevance in this era to dogmatically follow and practice the belief based on this word? A word commonly used and bandied around at funerals. I make reference to a very old dictionary that has the meaning of this word Theetu. It's called the Jubilee Tamil Dictionary. You can see it's quite thick, quite a vast dictionary. Or it's called Tamil Per Agaradi, which was published in 1935. So if you look at the age of this book, it's 88 years in 2023. And then there's another dictionary, a later publication, called the Lifco Dictionary, which was published in 1966, which makes it 57 years ago. I'm making this point because although Theetu has been around a long time, but these dictionaries already projected the meaning and the purpose of Theetu. Now, according to the Jubilee Dictionary, the very thick dictionary, Theetu means arakku, dirt, asudam, unclean. It also means kurmeyakudal, to sharpen, hence you can sharpen a knife. So it's a word used synonymously with sharpening a knife, but today's topic is about Theetu that comes about during funeral. Lifco, the second dictionary, the later edition, states Maranam, Parasavam is when giving birth to a child, Pondravatral, Yetpadum Asudha Nilame, meaning pollution from death, childbirth, etc. And this dictionary also says in Tamil, Kuraku means to sharpen. These Tamil dictionaries were passed on to me by my late father, guru, and mentor, Vidwan K.M. Sarugasar, who was a doyen and a legend in the field of Tamil culture, tradition, and religion. In the days of yore, and more recently during COVID, this was the case where there was pollution, where there was danger of infection and contamination. In those days, there were no mortuaries with cold storage or undertakers who provided a service to families during a funeral like they do now. When a person passed on, those days, I'm going way, way back, and this is during my mutton kotri days where I was growing up, and I witnessed this issue firsthand. When someone passed on those days, having no mortuaries with refrigeration or undertakers, the family of the deceased took on the total responsibility to prepare a coffin. In those days, we didn't have the fancy caskets that one has today. They would prepare the coffin, and having lived in Manichkom, we would go to the carpenter shop, speak to the carpenter employed by Natal Estates, and get the box made, carry that or transport it with a company bakkie to the house of the deceased. But before that happened, not having mortuaries and undertakers, the body lay at the family house for quite a few days. The reason is that there were no cars, there were no private vehicles owned by our people. Therefore, they relied on public transport. Again, those days, public transport did not run regularly or daily. Sometimes public transport used to only be available after every 3 days. I remember a bus that was run by the South African Railways called the Pullman bus, which used to come from Darnell. My uncle lived there, mother's brother. And if he had to leave Darnell and come to visit us in Manichkom, he had to wait for 3 days to board the bus. The bus kept stopping all over, with the result they would only reach their destination 2 days later. The reason I'm saying all this is because while waiting for family members, the mortal remains of the one who passed away was laid on a sheet that was placed on a floor in order to keep away all the mosquitoes, all the insects, all the flies. Slingerberry leaves and turmeric water was sprinkled over the mortal remains. During intense summer heat, the body gave off certain liquids, which then brought about bad bacteria. People who were in close proximity to the body were prone to pick up infections and could pass it on to others by hugging and embracing one another when they came to console the family members. Hence, infection spread. In order not to spread the infection all over the community, people were asked to exercise restraint, stay in their homes during the incubation period, and not go to public places, public functions, and temples where there used to be mass gathering. But today, undertakers remove the mortal remains and store it in cold storage and bring it to the house on a day of the funeral. Those days, it used to take about 5 days. And can you imagine on a hot summer's day, 33 degrees, 35 degrees like we're going through now, and the body lying on the floor, and it used to start fermenting as well. But today we don't have the problem. The undertaker picks up the mortal remains and takes it to his mortuary. It's refrigerated and brought back on the day of the funeral, and having modern transport, we don't wait very long. Now this is the case where is infection. As I said, during COVID, yes, it was very dangerous. We had to observe the same kind of protocol, but that cannot be applied as a general rule. Situations could change. A person could have passed away of infection, but that must be treated in that circumstances and not make a blanket rule and treat everything the same. So I'm saying the word Theetu is very loosely used in this day and era. And when the mortal remains is brought to the house, it doesn't give off any liquid, it's in a good state, and therefore we are not in danger of picking up any infection.
Thank you very much, Guru. Well, we will take a short break and thereafter we will continue.
You can WhatsApp us on 079 170 3274.
உயிரும் நீயே உடலும் நீயே உறவும் நீயே தாயே உயிரும் நீயே உடலும் நீயே உறவும் நீயே தாயே தன் உடலில் சுமந்து உயிரை பகிர்ந்து உறவும் தருவாய் நீயே தன் உடலில் சுமந்து உயிரை பகிர்ந்து உறவும் தருவாய் நீயே உன் கண்ணில் வழியும் ஒரு துணை போதும் கடல் உருவும் தாயே உன் கண்ணில் வழியும் ஒரு துணை போதும் கடலும் உருவும் தாயே உன் காலடி மட்டும் தருவாய் தாயே சொர்க்கம் என்பது பொய்யே உயிரும் நீயே உடலும் நீயே உறவும் நீயே தாயே விண்ணை படைத்தார் மண்ணை படைத்தார் காற்றும் மழையும் உயிரும் படைத்தார் வெண்ணை படைத்தார் மண்ணை படைத்தார் காற்றும் மழையும் உயிரும் படைத்தார் பூமிக்கு அதனால் நிம்மதியில்லை பூமிக்கு அதனால் நிம்மதியில்லை சாமி தவித்தார் சாமி தவித்தார் தாயே படைத்தார் உயிரும் நீயே உடலும் நீயே உறவும் நீயே தாயே உயிரும் நீயே உடலும் நீயே உறவும் நீயே தாயே தன் உடலில் சுமந்து உயிரை பகிர்ந்து உறவு
You can WhatsApp us on 079 170 3274.
Dear listeners, I hope you have a better understanding of the word Theetu, which in short means asingam or dirty, but you can see that has no relevance. The very person that we loved all our lives, when that person leaves us, anything pertaining to that person's passing away cannot be treated as something dirty or unclean. At the same time, we have self-appointed gurus amongst us who will give you an opinion and tell you, don't do this, don't do that when somebody passes away. And always make a light-hearted joke that sometimes when I hear this, it seems like in Hinduism, and especially with the South Indian sector, we have more don'ts than do's. Then the question is, what do we really do when there are more don'ts? And this is because, as I said, self-appointed gurus give you opinions, and they could be lay people, or they could be gurus themselves. Now, one of the things that worries me is as well, when someone passes on, the family is told, put all prayers on hold. Now, this confuses me because it is said in our scriptures that prayer is for the soul and food is for the body. While food nourishes the body, prayer nourishes the soul. So when a person passes on, prayer is needed more for the soul to be directed, and hence all those prayers that are done, for the soul to be directed to the divine abode, Sivalogam, for the soul to receive what we call moksha. And all the prayers that we do, the yagyam on the memorial day, is what guides the soul and creates a pure sattvic energy accompanying the soul to the abode of Siva Paraman and Adi Parasakti. Some people are told, you mustn't carry kavadi, you mustn't do a Pratasi prayer. And some people who are involved in Pratasi prayer or kavadi, if there is a funeral, if they seek advice, sometimes they are told, you cannot attend the funeral. Now, why is this the case? What harm? I said to you, there's no Theetu anymore. There is no infection anymore. So what is the harm that we're bringing back home if we attend the funeral, even when we are planning to do a prayer? One needs to remember that going to a home and sympathizing with the people is therapeutic for them. And when everything is said and done, and when they reflect back on who came to the funeral, who attended, they feel strong in the sense that a busy person made it and attended the funeral, consoled them, sat for a while, and left. Now, when you do kavadi, you do Ganesha prayer, you do kalasam, you do yagyam. When you do a ceremony, you do Ganesha prayer, you do kalasam, you do yagyam, and you do few other extra things like the Yellam Thani, the Penda Prasada. But being the standard way of praying, so where is the deviation when it comes to prayer for a person that's deceased and prayer in a temple? Even some gurus don't take on weddings when there's a family funeral. I could understand if the emotion is running high and they're not in a position mentally to sit on a stage to conduct a wedding. But if the reason is because of Theetu, then the family that's relying on the guru, where do they go to find another guru in the last minute? So therefore, putting prayer on hold is not tamasha. Kavadi is not tamasha. Puratasi is not tamasha. But putting prayer on hold, and then a year's time, there's another death in the family. God forbid it doesn't happen. And then we put prayer on hold again. And yet I make a light-hearted joke that 3 years later, when you enter the temple, God would ask you to produce your ID because he forgot who you are and he wants positive identity of you. So my dear people, as much as these kinds of mindsets have been around for a long time.
Impressions,
to be logical
Impressions
and we
Online
need to
Radio is
question
now available
why
on
we are not
94.3
allowed to do
FM
certain
in and
things.
around the Phoenix
And the
and
gurus
surrounding
need to
areas.
explain in a simple manner, not chapter and verse of our scriptures, but in a very simple layman's term, what is the reason from preventing you from doing certain things. The other worrying factor is when a person passes on, in this case, the husband, there is a process or custom whereby the tali is very forcefully removed from the lady's neck. The dot is rubbed off. This either happens at the funeral or it happens at the 16th day memorial. Now this for me is very inhumane. Choice of keeping the tali and the dot should be left to the widow and not foisted upon by others whom I called earlier on, self-appointed gurus that say you must remove your tali when your husband passes on. Now at this juncture I want to read from the Tamil Vedam, which states in Tamil, Valiba Maneviya irundalum, Vayadagiya Thaya irundalum, அவர்களுடைய கழுத்தில் இருக்கும் தாலியை அகற்ற கூடாது. In other words, whether you are a young widow or old widow, doesn't matter. There is no need to remove the tali. But when the individual, be it old or young, wants to remarry at a later stage, the choice must be theirs, but not the people surrounding the widow and forcefully removing the tali. I witnessed at a funeral where the lady was holding on to a tali and other ladies were forcefully trying to tug it off her neck. அவர்களுடைய மரணம் வரையில் அப்படியே விட்டுவிட வேண்டும். If they choose, they can go to their grave and keep on the tali up to then. கணவன் இருந்த போன வாலிப மனைவி மற்ற பிரார்த்தனைகளில் கலந்து கொள்ளலாம். So what it says is, there's no restriction for the wife as a widow that you cannot do this and you cannot do that. Going back to the tali and the kungam botu, who gives the girl the kungam botu? Who gives the first dot? Isn't it the mother when she comes of age? Doesn't the mother give her the dot? Doesn't the mother bless her having come of age? Who changes the tali in the 3rd month? Isn't it the same mother? When the girl is married and she comes to the mother's home for a 3rd month change of tali, the mother gives her the blessing. Why does the mother change the tali? The mother is saying to her, just as I gave birth to you, my child, I am blessing you with the ability to procreate. And when we do weddings, one of the 7 steps talks to procreation. So she's blessing a child by giving her a tali. So what is tali and kungam? Tali and kungam represent motherhood. Even if she's a widow, the lady is a mother of a child, sometimes a granny of grandchildren. Now if tali and kungam are motherhood, and she is a mother, shouldn't that symbolism stay, and shouldn't she keep it proudly as a mother or a granny? Even here, there are ladies who come to the funeral or ceremony and forcefully remove the tali, much to the protest of the widow. Then this Harichandra temple at the graveside or the crematorium, it's loosely called Harichandra temple, but it's not Harichandra, it's actually a Sivan Kovil. The stone that's in that shrine or temple or building is a lingam. Now, before going to the antechamber, it is important to at least light a camphor, even if you don't, nothing else, to light a camphor and take our hands to the lingam, because Lingam being combination of Shiva Shakti, they are the ones who are going to give moksham to the soul, the Atman. So we are asking for Sivalingam, Vadiye Tirakya Vendum, Lord Shiva and Mother Shakti, to open the way for the soul to reach moksham. So my dear people, again, certain people are told there is no need to go here, but although it's your choice, I think when you are informed as to what the symbolism of this temple is, you will think twice.
Thank you very much, Guru. Well, we will take a short break, and thereafter we will continue with the rest of this discourse.
எந்தன் உயிரே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் துணையே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் உயிரே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் துணையே நீ அம்மா.
எந்தன் உயிரே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் துணையே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் உயிரே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் துணையே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் தாயும் நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் சக்தியும் நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் தாயும் நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் சக்தியும் நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் உயிரே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் துணையே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் தாயும் நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் சக்தியும் நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் உயிரே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் துணையே நீ அம்மா. எந்தன் வாழ்க்கையின் பாடலிலே மொழியே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் வாழ்க்கையின் பாடலிலே மொழியே நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் இன்பமும் நீ அம்மா, சுகப்பாடலும் நீ அம்மா, எந்தன் இன்பமும் நீ அம்மா, சுகப்பாடலும் நீ அம்மா, 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 அம்மா.
Impressions 94.3 FM, radio for you. Looking for the perfect platform to advertise your business? Look no further. Impressions 94.3 FM is taking Durban by storm. Let us take your brand to new heights. Contact our sales manager Jim Manilal on sales@impressions.durban or call 082 578 2061. You can also call 071 456 1114. Impressions 94.3 FM advertising, breaking barriers, building bonds.
Dear listeners, having said that, the thali and the kungam represents motherhood. That motherhood comes about through marriage, when the husband ties the thali and gives you the kungam botu as well, like the mother did when he came of age. And being married gives you the moral ability to bear children, to become a mother to them, and the husband a father. Another thing that, therefore, just to conclude, it says in the Tamil Vedam, Irandu pona kanavan savathin pakkathil. Savathin means the mortal remains. So when a husband passes away, there is no need manaviye utkara vaittu sadangu sangyam seidal nirutti vida vendum. There is no need for the wife to sit next to the casket and go through all this torture and the sangyam, which actually is a very archaic practice and very inhumane. Another inhumane treatment of widows is when they are stigmatized at functions, like when they go to Nelungu ceremonies, they are not allowed to go on stage and do Nelungu for the lady or the man that's about to get married the next day. Because they're widows, they are given a very inhumane treatment, and they're almost shunned by society not to come on stage and perform the Nelungu, for the fear of a curse may befall the bride or the groom to be. But my question is, how is that everybody else comes and blesses a couple, but just the select few who are termed widows would carry a bad vibration? I'm sure they mean well. The fact you invited them, they should be included. They're your guests. And there's no such thing that they would bring about so-called bad luck, omen, or bad vibe to the children. It is just a mindset, and it is just a thought process that contaminates our mind. Even when the children get married, the mother of the girl or the boy, the bride or the groom, is not allowed to sit on stage because of a status of a widow. Now, who gives birth to the child? It's a mother. Who has a right to be there to bless the child? It said, Mada, Pida, Guru, Devam. Mother, Father, Guru, and God. Petrorgal nammudiya kankanda devangal. Our parents are our living, visible gods. Now, taking blessing from your mother or your father is very supreme. So how is it that a mother cannot sit on stage and cannot perform the kanni pendanam or kanyadan, which is the giving away of a child? If it's a daughter, she needs to give away. Why then must an uncle or aunt represent her and do the honors on stage? Again, this is very harsh, very inhumane, unfounded, because the love of a mother is described in the song Sankara Nayana Kovinile, which says, Thayin karune nirendirkum. The love of a mother is like an overflowing cup. The more love she gives, the more love she has to give. So this mindset of mothers who are widows not being allowed on stage is very archaic, very inhumane, and therefore this practice should be stopped forthwith. Because of this, ladies in India, because of the stigma, when the mortal remains of the husband is burnt on a pyre, they commit what is called sati. Sati is suicide by falling on that pyre. We also are told during funerals not to switch on the stove. There was a reason. Let's not condemn what our forefathers did. The circumstances were different. The challenges were different. In those days, I remember growing up in Manichkom, we had a coal stove. And I said to you early in my presentation that the mortal remains of the deceased lay on the floor. Now, if you lit the coal stove to even boil water, the heat would aggravate the decomposition of the body. Therefore, it was wise not to light the stove, and neighbors rallied around and brought things to the family. But today, we're living in a neighborhood where all races are moving in, living together in harmony, and therefore looking to neighbors to bring something when a child is hungry and crying for a cup of tea is not something we should follow as we go into the future. My dear people, thank you for listening to me. In conclusion, I want to say, as we are moving towards enlightenment through education and computerization, internet, why are we following ancient practices that have no relevance in this era? Why are we confusing the younger generation by following certain irrelevant practices dogmatically? If there's no rationality and if it's not logical, we should be questioning it. If something doesn't make sense, we must get an explanation and the reasons as to why we are allowed or not allowed to do certain things. I implore you, dear listeners, to arm yourself with knowledge by reading various literature that's available. I don't profess to know it all. It's said in Tamil, Kattadu kaimannalavu katkadadu ulagalavu. What you've learned is tantamount to a handful of sand. What you still have to learn is vast as the ocean or vast as this world. So remember to arm yourself and to question. Therefore, the word why is very, very important. In conclusion, I would like to quote another chapter or verse from Thirukural. Chapter 40, verse 396 reads as follows, I quote, Tottane duru manetkeni, mandarku kattane duru marivu. Unquote, explanation, the deeper you delve into the earth, the greater will be the flow of water. Likewise, the deeper the study, the more profound and extensive will be the knowledge. Vanakkam Kuri, Vidai Perugiren. Thank you. God bless.
Well, thank you very much to Guru Sammandan Sarugasar. And I'm pretty sure that you all have enjoyed and have learned something from this lovely discourse. Well, as I always say, I'm the son of the Montiachkum soil. But today I think Guru takes that. I think he has come out of very humble beginnings from Montiachkum. And I want to say to you, Guru, thank you very much. And I am very blessed in having you. I'm very blessed in being here and having Guru, especially someone that comes out of the Montiachkum soil. Well, Guru, you have some books to show our viewers and the listeners out there about, some.
All right, this is the book I initially showed, Sage. This is a book where the meaning of Theetu, and this book is 88 years old, like I said earlier on. Then the second dictionary is a Lifco dictionary, so you can see the meaning has not been conjured by me. Mm-hmm. It comes from authorities that I am showcasing here, and even Tamil Vedam, where I did some reading from, right, is a book that contains all these explanations. So by reading these books and having the knowledge, you are then armed and you are able to answer people the questions when they confuse and they don't know whether to turn right or left. Now, this Thirukural is not a religious book. This Thirukural is a way of life. It deals with everything, right from birth to your last breath on this earth, and therefore it's a book of aesthetics. And I implore everyone to try and get a copy of this Thirukural. It's available online as well, and it's full of gems that will guide us through our journey in life. And Sage, to you, and impressions Vanakkam. Thank you. God bless. Thank you for this opportunity for speaking on the radio.
Thank you very much, Guru. And I think just before we conclude today's program, I think you would also back me up when I say this. It's the biggest gift in which that you can give yourself by learning Tamil. And by going to classes and learning, I think it makes life much easier. So we all can have some sort of understanding what we sing, what we actually do. And I think you can actually back me up on that, because I mean, your dad was a Vidwan of Mount Hitchcomb, and I think by my late grandfather, the late PM Munsami. And just yesterday, my elders have been telling me that my grandfather actually learnt Tamil under your dad.
Yes, quite right. He was known as Uncle PM, fondly known as Uncle PM, a very good artist as well, and he used to do all the props for our shows. And he learnt under my guru, my late father, mentor, with one KM Sarugasar.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Guru. And as you have heard Guru giving his lovely discourse, now we will hear Guru singing.
சங்கரநாயன கோவிலிலே சங்கரி கோமாதி அருள்கின்றார். சங்கரநாயன கோவிலிலே சங்கரி கோமாதி அருள்கின்றார். ஆதி தவத்தில் காட்சி தந்தாய், ஆதி தவத்தில் காட்சி தந்தாய், அன்னை அருளை வாரி வழங்குகின்றார். சங்கரநாயன கோவிலிலே சங்கரி கோமதி அருள்கின்றார். பொத்திலிருந்து மண் எழுத்து பக்தியுடன் அதே தினமும் உண்டு. பொத்திலிருந்து மண் எழுத்து பக்தியுடன் அதே தினமும் உண்டு. சக்தி கோமதையை நினைப்பவர்க்கு சகல நலங்களும் என்றும் உண்டு, சகல நலங்களும் என்றும் உண்டு. சங்கரநாயன கோவிலிலே சங்கரி கோமதி அருள்கின்றார். சங்கரநாயன திருக்கோலோ சங்கரி கோமதி தவ கோலோ. சங்கரநாயன திருக்கோலோ சங்கரி கோமதி தவ கோலோ. மங்களம் தந்திரம் எழிற்கோலோ மங்கையர் வாழ்வில் சுபயோகம். மஞ்சள் முகத்தில் ஒளி இருக்கும், தஞ்சம் என்றால் வழி பிறக்கும். மஞ்சள் முகத்தில் ஒளி இருக்கும், தஞ்சம் என்றால் வழி பிறக்கும். தங்க கொடி மரம் உயர்ந்துணிக்கும், அதில் தாயின் கருணை நிறைந்திருக்கும், தாயின் கருணை நிறைந்திருக்கும். சங்கரநாயன கோவிலே சங்கரி கோமதி அருள்கின்றார். ஆதி தவத்தில் காட்சி தந்தாய், ஆதி தவத்தில் காட்சி தந்தாய், அன்னை அருளை வாரி வழங்குகின்றார். சங்கரநாயன கோவிலிலே சங்கரி கோமதி அருள்கின்றார். சங்கரி கோமதி அருள்கின்றார். சங்கரி கோமதி அருள்கின்றார்.
அங்காரி உங்க